The little 400 is bigger than I thought. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So, I just popped down to my local Triumph dealership, Triumph motorcycle dealership, to have a look at their 400cc motorcycles. Now, my thinking is this, that whether I keep my Harley or not, or whether I go for another Tourer, whether it's a BMW, if I did move, I probably would kind of lean in that direction right now. But at the same time, I think, well, a smaller bike would be a lot better just for running around, that kind of thing, very short distances, maybe even a little commute to work, maybe as a second bike. But also when I go away in my camper, I can just easily put that on the back on a trailer, and I could use that as a little runaround. So wherever I'm going, it'll be a little runaround, it'll be cool. And I thought, yeah, that suits me down to the ground. Now, there are lots of other bikes that are really, really cheap, 125s, 250s. So you could easily get a cheaper motorcycle, right? I don't have to go for a Triumph. But I thought, do you know what? Let me go and have a look at these, because there's a lot of hype about them. Right now, they've sold 50-odd thousand motorcycles all over the world. This is Triumph for these 400, the two variants, the Speed 400 and the Scrambler 400X. So I thought, let's go and have a look at them. So I popped down there, popped down to the local dealership, just moseyed on in there, and well, I was really impressed by the kind of feel to them, by the finish of them, the way they looked. But also, they're not small bikes either. They kind of, I wouldn't say they're big bikes, but I sat on one on the Scrambler, and yeah, my feet were planted on the floor. I'm 6 foot, you know, planted on the floor, but it felt like quite a big bike. You know, you were upright like this, and it just felt right. I mean, the price of this Scrambler, I think in the UK, is about 5,700. I did an online spec up before I went down there. And if I just spec'd it up just with, you know, a metal sump guard and things like that, and different sort of mud guard or mud guard extenders, all these kind of small adjustments, but nothing drastic, right? Maybe a little windscreen on there as well, just for shits and giggles, right? It's less than £6,000. Let's say £6,000 for a brand new motorcycle, 400cc, that's going to be very capable and still do as fast as I ever want it to go, right? And it will cover a lot of bases. So I thought, you know what, let me go down there, have a look. And I was really impressed. Now, the Scrambler 400X and the Speed 400, they are the same bike, but just slightly different styling, and also the way things are attached. You know, similar kind of things like the headlights, same headlight, but the Scrambler 400X has got a grille on it, but also the mounting brackets are different as well. Different handlebars as well on the Scrambler, in that they come up slightly higher, and then they've got the T-bar going across, the bolt-on T-bar as well. So it's silly little things like that. You know, different sort of mudguard arrangement, different foot peg arrangement, that kind of thing, which you would expect because it's styled as a Scrambler, right? But essentially, underneath all of that, they're exactly the same bike. Still single cylinder, 398 cc's, just shy of 40 horsepower, 39.5, and newton meters at 37.5. So it's not gonna pull a train, but at the same time, they're plenty powerful enough just for pootling around and having a bit of fun. Also, it's quite light as well, comparatively speaking, let's say, to a big bike. And it comes in just shy of 180 kilos, 179 kilos. It's got a 13-litre tank, and it's supposed to do, wait for it, 80.7 miles per gallon. 80.7 miles per gallon. Even if it does half of that, even if it does 2/3 of that, that's still a great, you know, if it does like 50 or 60 miles to the gallon, I'm going to be happy with that. But 80? That is going to be really good. Why would I consider this? Why would I consider a Triumph 400? Well, first of all, it's a Triumph, and it's been built to spec in India with Bajaj, yes, granted, but it's still been built to high specifications. And you can just tell by looking at it, it doesn't look cheap at all. In fact, it looks really expensive. In fact, it looks like a normal Triumph. It seems as if it's been built here in Hinckley or in their Thailand you know, assembly plant as well. Wherever it's built, it just looks like a normal Triumph. The styling is right. The accent cues are right. You know, it just looks right. And when they first came out, I did a few videos on them as well, and I was saying that these look really good, and the footage and the marketing for these bikes was spot on as well by Triumph, so well done to them. What I understand is that there's a bit of a delay in getting the bikes into the country, because maybe they're just in such high demand, these bikes as well. People are, you know, coming in. So I think if you just went for the green version, you pretty much pick one up pretty, you know, straight away. If you want a different color, let's say the red, it might take a couple of months for that bike to come through. So at this early stage, not all the accessories have come through. They think they just start to come through or be made readily available here in the UK, that is. And it could be the same in other parts of the world. But certainly, as the months progress now, you're going to get all the full package of accessories readily on tap. And as more and more people go into Triumph dealerships and kind of ignore the bigger bikes, or even ignore the Bonnevilles and the Speedmasters or whatever, the bobbers of this world, they look at that bike, the Triumph 400, Speed 400, or the Scrambler 400X, and they're going to go, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. That seems like good fun. Now, especially, I know a few people have made remarks about, well, it's only older guys who are going in and buying these bikes, especially like the Scrambler or even Speed 400, because they're kind of reminiscing of their youth as well. But it doesn't matter who's buying them. The fact is they're being bought. They're being bought in great numbers. So people are buying them. Yes, the demographic of motorcycle riders is getting older and older, and there's lots of reasons for that. But still, these bikes are going out the door. Now, as you can imagine, the guy there, the salesman, was very helpful, very friendly, you know, kind of informative. I was asking him a few questions, and he said, look, we got one. You can take one out for a ride. And I said, look, you know, a little bit pushed for time and maybe another day, but, you know, if I want to go for it, I'll come back and ride it. And, you know, I'd love to go and ride it. It wasn't that I didn't want to ride it. It was just a time issue for me there and then. But one thing that holds me back on this is the other big competitor in this kind of field right now of kind of retro heritage style bikes, and that's Royal Enfield. Royal Enfield just coming out with their 450 Himalayan. They've also just released their other bike, the Guerilla, or the Guerilla 450 as well. You know, the liquid-cooled engine. Now that's coming in slightly more expensive, from anywhere from, let's say, 5,800 to just over 6,000, according to whichever paint scheme you want. And then, obviously, if you spec it up, then you're going to add a little bit more onto there. But essentially, they're in the same kind of ballpark as the Triumph 400 Scrambler, as is the Himalayan. The Guerilla 450, or the Guerilla 450, which however you want to pronounce these things, well, that's, I suppose you could say, it's more of a like for like against the Speed 400 Triumph. Well, guess what? This is coming in a lot cheaper, just over £5,000, £5,050, I believe. And that's for the higher price paint schemes. But actually, the lowest price as a standard bike is £4,850 in that smoked silver colour. So guess what? It's a cracking bike. So all of a sudden you've got these heritage bikes that people, let's say my age or maybe even younger, can buy a brand new bike for about £5,000, £6,000, brand new. And it's 400cc, 450cc, all the modern tech in terms of, you know, basic riding, but liquid-cooled engines. And you think, yeah, they're all right. Now, you could buy 400cc, 500cc bikes for cheaper, certainly in the used bike market. You could certainly buy 250s, 350s, let's say, for a little bit cheaper as well. But for this range, you're getting quite a decent bike. In fact, you're getting a very decent bike that's got enough power to get you down the road in an efficient manner. Sometimes you find with the 250s and even 350s, you know, even for open road riding, they're just a little bit gutless, you know, especially if they're not gutless, they're just really uncomfortable. Well, now you've got a bit of a happy in between. And I'd say, you know, sitting on the Triumph 400X there, yeah, it looked great. It felt great. The Speed 400 felt great. So the only reservation I would have is, well, let me go and have a look at a Himalayan 450 or a Guerilla 450 and say, wow, which is a better buy? And for all the reasons I've said, just a real cheaper little run around, something that I can take with me, you know, on the back of the camper, that kind of thing, or just tow anywhere. Something that I could use a little commuter bike. If I wanted to go into town, I could just quickly hop on there and just quickly zip in there, zip out, in and out of traffic. Perfect bike for this kind of thing. I can see why so many people are buying these bikes. I can absolutely see it. There's no issue here. I was having a conversation with a guy at the Harley Davidson garage dealership last week, which is the local one is closing now, as you might have seen in my previous video. But I was saying, if Harley Davidson had the X440 or even the X350 or the X500 and they were selling in the UK at a price that is competitive with these guys, in other words a £5,000, £5,500 bike, I would be looking at that. I would be looking at a smaller Harley Davidson as well for a little run around. Now, whether I would keep my Sport Glide, my Harley Davidson, or whether I go on to another bike, I would still think actually this is the right move. The right move is, let's say I have a second bike, is not to have another big bike. The smaller bike, the kind of run around bike, that'd be great. And if it's a Harley Davidson X440 or whatever other bike they could produce, if it came in on price, then yeah, that would be in the conversation as well. But the problem is, it isn't, is it? It's not in, and you know they're going to try and put that Harley tax on. You can imagine that Harley Davidson brought this, the X440, let's say, to the UK. You know, it would be in the region of about £6,500 to £7,000, maybe even more, £7,500. You can bet your bottom dollar is. Well, that's what, £1,500, £2,000 more than the competition. Who are you going to go to? You're going to go to these guys and not Harley Davidson. But there we go. I'm not going to keep on harping on about that. But I just wanted to make this video because, as I say, the Triumph 400, Speed 400, or the Scrambler 400X, I can see 100% what all the hype is about. I can see why people are making videos about it and riding them and enjoying them. And I can see just by sitting on it, not even riding it, just by sitting on it and having a good look over the bike, it will be a decent bike. Obviously, you got to see if it suits your kind of style of riding. It's going to be a light bike, a cheap bike to run, and that miles per gallon is absolutely great. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But the Triumph Speed 400 or the 400X Scrambler, not a bad bike to buy. Not a bad bike to buy. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos, and I will catch you again in another video coming very soon. Bye now. RevelatorAlf.